Hi, my name is Jaylee, and I'm working with Campbell and Gracie on our topic of racial disparity in criminal justice system. So our research question was, how is racial disparity shown in the United States criminal justice system, and what are some ways we as a society can change these unfair outcomes? This is a two-parter question because in order to fully understand how to solve a problem, you must understand how the problem is created and how we can recognize it and analyze it from the start. We see this as a problem recently in like the Black Lives Matter movements around the summer of 2020, and being in those type of situations and seeing those riots really inspired us to look further in depth into the actual statistics and stuff of that type of topic and the racial injustice and how skewed the disparity is. And now we will discuss our three different ideas of how to solve these. And next, Gracie will talk about our lit review.
So for our lit review, we actually looked into a variety of sources, but we looked through different primary sources from inmates that have personally experienced this injustice. And then we also looked through different sources regarding the people that just witnessed how unfair sentencing is just based on race, and those were secondary sources. And then we also looked into a couple sources that provided possible solutions, and we kind of made them into our own ideas. And then we also looked into different sources discussing the current events happening, because although this has been a problem for basically forever, it's especially just gotten brought up to our attention and many others recently.
Okay, so as of now, racial and ethnic disparities in the criminal justice system result from a complex set of policies and practices, one of them including the use of drugs. As you can see in the graph, Black people have had drug-related arrests at consistently higher rates than whites. State and federal policymakers should shift the focus of drug policies in ways that would be more effective in addressing substance abuse and could also reduce racial and ethnic disparities. As of now, the use of public health models like community-based treatment rely on the criminal justice system to provide services. Since there are disparities in the system, such as being falsely accused or sentenced due to race, it is important to change the system. Those selling small amounts of drugs to support their own drug use may go to jail for decades. This unequal enforcement ignores the universality of drug dependency as well as the universal appeal of drugs themselves. Creating a public outreach campaign about how the use of drugs can lead to racial disparities can help inform and teach others to help and change the justice system. Informing others about the disparities in the justice system will allow for the community to come together and make a change. While this is true, expanding substance abuse treatment options in prison and providing sentence reduction incentives for successful participation could be a great idea to help those already incarcerated.
So, the phrase racism is taught is often a phrase thrown around when discussing racial disparity and the minorities that are affected by it. So, my solution is to educate the youth. You can go to schools and show presentations, show statistics, start clubs to unify the different races, and to show them that they're not the enemy, that we're all the same, and that there's only one race, which is the human race. You can do so many things with the youth, and once everyone from a young age grows up understanding that we're all the same, no matter the color of our skin, they'll grow up to believe the same. They won't be changed or swayed. No one's born racist. It's taught. And if we teach otherwise, we can start young, and then that won't be a problem when they grow up. In this chart, you can see that although more juvenile arrests for violent crimes are from white people, that more African Americans end up in long-term institutions because of these arrests. So although more white people are arrested, blacks often suffer harsher punishments for these crimes.
So, as Jaylee said, the most important thing is just teaching people how to treat each other without this racial disparity. And so although teaching the youth early would improve the problem in the future, if we were to improve it now, we would also have to speak to the older generation who have been taught differently. Like now we all are taught this now, but they weren't necessarily taught that the same things we were when they were younger. So we would definitely have to reach out to that older generation that when racism was more common when they were growing up. So just changing how people were brought up like by their parents, and then speaking to these people about the current events happening that definitely provoke more emotion, and also like some type of therapy or just mostly like educational purposes of just trying to change their outlook on it. And in order for this problem to be fixed now, we must change all people's perspectives, not only the younger generations. And as seen in the figure on the right, there's been more talk about racism recently, but when this older generation was growing up, it was kind of like just thrown under the rug. So if we were to change that now, it'd be difficult to change these people's thoughts, but it can definitely be done.
Okay, so today we went over the causes and effects of racial disparity and how to solve these issues. We said that to solve them, we could decrease the uses of drugs, educate the youth, and change people's upbringing. These are our references. Thank you.